Hello, future scientists. Welcome to an exciting journey into the heart of chemical bonding. Today, we are unraveling the mystery of hybridization, a fundamental concept that explains how atoms blend their orbitals to form the incredible shapes of molecules around us. From the simple water molecule to complex organic compounds, hybridization is key. We'll explore this fascinating topic through 4 levels: easy, medium, hard, and hardest, preparing you thoroughly for your main exams. Let's dive in. Ready to discover how atoms get their shapes? Let's start with the basics of hybridization and its simplest forms. So, what exactly is hybridization? Imagine atomic orbitals, like the s and p orbitals, mixing together. They don't just stay separate, they combine to form brand new, equivalent orbitals called hybrid orbitals. Think of it like mixing paints to get a new color. This mixing makes the atoms more stable and helps them form stronger, more directed bonds. The number of new hybrid orbitals is always equal to the number of atomic orbitals that started the mixing. Crucially, only orbitals with similar energies can hybridize. These new hybrid orbitals are directional, meaning they point in specific ways, which is essential for determining a molecule's shape and bond strength. Why do atoms bother with this mixing? Well, it solves a big puzzle, explaining why molecules have the shapes they do. For instance, carbon, with its 2s superscript 2 to p superscript 2 configuration, might seem like it should only make 2 bonds at 90 degrees. But methane, CH, has 4 identical bonds, all at 109.5 degrees, arranged in a tetrahedron. Hybridization explains this by proposing that carbon's 2s and 2p orbitals combine to form 4 equivalent sp superscript 3 hybrid orbitals. Now, let's look at the 3 main types we'll focus on: sp, sp superscript 2, and sp superscript 3. In sp hybridization, one s and one p orbital mix, giving 2 sp orbitals arranged linearly at 180 degrees, like in BCl. Sp superscript 2 involves 1 s and 2 p orbitals, forming 3 sp superscript 2 orbitals in a trigonal planar shape at 120 degrees, as seen in BF. Finally, sp superscript 3 mixes 1 s and 3 p orbitals, yielding 4 sp superscript 3 orbitals in a tetrahedral arrangement at 109.5 degrees, exemplified by methane. These specific arrangements give molecules their unique and stable structures. Now, it's time to test your understanding with some quick questions. Pause the video, think them through, and see if you can apply what we've just learned. Good luck! Alright, let's deepen our understanding. We'll explore the how and why of hybridization in more detail. Hybridization isn't just a random event, it's a fundamental concept that helps us understand the stable structures of molecules. It's a key part of valence bond theory, explaining why molecules adopt specific geometries that simple orbital overlap alone cannot. The why is stability. By forming hybrid orbitals, atoms can achieve more effective overlap, leading to stronger bonds and a lower energy state for the molecule. The how involves atomic orbitals on the central atom redistributing their electron density. These newly formed hybrid orbitals are all equal in energy and are oriented in space to minimize electron-electron repulsion. This directional nature is what allows them to form strong sigma bonds. Any unhybridized p orbitals that remain can then participate in forming pi bonds through sideways overlap, adding another layer of complexity and stability to the molecular structure. One of the most practical aspects of hybridization is being able to predict it. A powerful tool for this is the steric number method. The steric number for a central atom is simply the sum of the number of sigma bonds it forms and the number of lone pairs of electrons it possesses. If your steric number is 2, you're looking at sp hybridization. A steric number of 3 indicates sp superscript 2 hybridization. And if it's 4, then it's sp superscript 3 hybridization. Remember, when counting sigma bonds, even a double or triple bond only counts as *1 sigma bond for the steric number. For example, in water, oxygen forms two sigma bonds with hydrogen and has two lone pairs, so its steric number is 4, indicating sp superscript 3 hybridization. In carbon dioxide, the central carbon forms two double bonds. Each double bond has one sigma bond, so two sigma bonds in total, and 0 lone pairs. Steric number 2, hence sp hybridization. This method is incredibly useful for quickly determining hybridization in various molecules. Let's visualize these hybridizations with a more detailed orbital picture. For sp hybridization, one s and one p orbital merge to create two sp hybrid orbitals, pointing 180 degrees apart. This leaves two unhybridized p orbitals, which are perpendicular to the sp orbitals and can form pi bonds, as seen in acetylene. In sp superscript 2 hybridization, one s and two p orbitals combine to yield three sp superscript 2 hybrid orbitals. These three lie in a plane, 120 degrees apart, with one unhybridized p orbital remaining perpendicular to that plane. This leftover p orbital is crucial for forming the pi bond in molecules like ethene. Finally, for sp superscript 3 hybridization, one s and all three p orbitals mix to form four sp superscript 3 hybrid orbitals. These are symmetrically arranged in a tetrahedral shape, 109.5 degrees apart. In this case, all p orbitals are consumed in the hybridization, so no unhybridized p orbitals remain, meaning sp superscript 3 hybridized atoms typically form only sigma bonds, as observed in methane, ammonia, and water. Now, challenge yourself with these medium-level questions. Apply the steric number method and your understanding of orbital mixing. Take your time, and good luck. Ready for a deeper dive? Let's connect hybridization with molecular geometry and explore more complex scenarios. Hybridization and VSEPR theory are two sides of the same coin when it comes to molecular geometry. Hybridization tells us the asterisk arrangement of electron domains asterisk, that is, the total number of hybrid orbitals and lone pairs around the central atom. This gives us the parent electron domain geometry, like tetrahedral for sp superscript 3. VSEPR theory then refines this by considering the repulsions between these electron domains. Lone pairs, due to their greater spatial distribution, exert more repulsion than bond pairs. This increased repulsion pushes the bonding pairs closer together, distorting the ideal bond angles. For example, both methane, CH, and ammonia, NH, have sp superscript 3 hybridized central atoms, implying a tetrahedral electron domain. However, methane has 4 bond pairs, resulting in a perfect tetrahedral asterisk molecular asterisk geometry with 109.5 degrees bond angles. Ammonia, with 3 bond pairs and 1 lone pair, also has a tetrahedral electron domain, but its asterisk molecular asterisk geometry is trigonal pyramidal, and the lone pair compresses the HNH bond angle to about 107 degrees. Similarly, water, with 2 bond pairs and 2 lone pairs, has a bent molecular geometry and an even smaller HOH bond angle of about 104.5 degrees. This interplay between hybridization and lone pair repulsion is crucial for understanding the precise shapes of molecules. In larger molecules, it's common to find different atoms exhibiting different types of hybridization. To determine the hybridization of each atom, we simply apply the steric number method to each individual central atom within the molecule. Let's take propan-1-ol as an example, which has 3 carbons and 1 oxygen. The first carbon, part of ACH group, forms 4 sigma bonds and has no lone pairs, making it sp superscript 3 hybridized. The 2 CH carbons are also sp superscript 3 hybridized for the same reason, 4 sigma bonds and no lone pairs. Even the oxygen atom in the O group, with 2 sigma bonds, 1 to carbon, 1 to hydrogen, and 2 lone pairs, results in a steric number of 4, indicating sp superscript 3 hybridization. This individual assessment allows us to build a comprehensive picture of the molecule's overall 3D structure. Furthermore, understanding hybridization is key when dealing with double and triple bonds. A double bond consists of 1 sigma and 1 pi bond, and the carbons involved are typically sp superscript 2 hybridized. A triple bond has 1 sigma and 2 pi bonds, with the carbons being sp hybridized. This localized analysis is vital for predicting reactivity and overall molecular architecture. Hybridization also plays a critical role in understanding molecules that exhibit resonance. Resonance structures represent the delocalized nature of electrons within a molecule. When an atom has a lone pair that can participate in resonance, meaning it can be delocalized into an adjacent pi system, its hybridization must accommodate this. The key rule here is that if a lone pair is involved in resonance, it needs to reside in an unhybridized p orbital to enable effective sideways overlap with other p orbitals, forming that delocalized pi system. Consequently, this lone pair is not counted towards the steric number when determining the atom's hybridization. A classic example is pyrrole, a 5-membered ring containing nitrogen. The nitrogen atom forms 3 sigma bonds and has 1 lone pair. If we blindly applied the steric number rule, 3 sigma plus 1 lone pair is equal to 4, we'd predict sp superscript 3 hybridization. However, pyrrole is aromatic, and the nitrogen's lone pair is crucial for its aromaticity, participating in the ring's delocalized pi system. Therefore, this lone pair occupies an unhybridized p orbital, and the nitrogen is actually sp superscript 2 hybridized, 3 sigma bonds plus 0 effective lone pairs is equal to 3. This concept highlights how resonance can influence the apparent hybridization state and is fundamental to understanding the stability and reactivity of conjugated and aromatic compounds. Time to tackle some harder questions. These require a deeper understanding of hybridization, VSEPR, and the impact of lone pairs and resonance. Give them your best shot. Welcome to the hardest level. Here, we'll push the boundaries of hybridization, exploring its limitations, advanced applications, and connections to broader chemical theories. This is where you truly solidify your competitive edge. While hybridization is an incredibly powerful tool, it's important to understand its limitations. It's a theoretical model, not a directly observable phenomenon, and it doesn't perfectly explain every molecular shape or bond angle. For instance, in molecules like HS, simple sp superscript 3 prediction would suggest a bond angle near 109.5 degrees, but the actual angle is closer to 92 degrees. This discrepancy can be attributed to the larger size of sulfur, making hybridization less effective, or to other quantum mechanical effects. Furthermore, hybridization theory, in its simple sp superscript 2 sp superscript 3 forms, doesn't fully account for hypervalent molecules involving d orbitals, like PCl or SF, where the involvement of d orbitals in bonding is a more complex topic in advanced chemistry. Despite these nuances, hybridization remains an invaluable qualitative concept, especially for main group elements and organic chemistry, providing a clear mental picture of bonding and geometry. Hybridization profoundly influences a molecule's properties. Consider electronegativity. Hybrid orbitals with more s character are more electronegative because s orbitals are closer to the nucleus, thus holding electrons more tightly. This explains why an sp hybridized carbon is more electronegative than an sp superscript 2 or sp superscript 3 carbon. This difference in electronegativity directly impacts the acidity of CH bonds. For example, terminal alkynes with sp hybridized carbons are weakly acidic because the more electronegative sp carbon can better stabilize the resulting carbanion. This is why alkynes are more acidic than alkenes, sp superscript 2, and alkanes, sp superscript 3. Hybridization also correlates with bond length and strength. As S character increases, hybrid orbitals become shorter and stronger, leading to shorter and stronger sigma bonds. This explains the trend in C to C bond lengths. Triple bonds, sp-sp, are shorter and stronger than double bonds, sp superscript 2, sp superscript 2, which are shorter and stronger than single bonds, sp superscript 3, sp superscript 3. These fundamental connections are crucial for predicting molecular behavior and reactivity. In complex organic structures, you'll often encounter multiple hybridization states within a single molecule, leading to fascinating geometries and properties. Take allene, CH is equal to C is equal to CH, for example. The two terminal carbons are sp superscript 2 hybridized because each forms two CH sigma bonds and one C is equal to C double bond, which counts as one sigma bond, totaling 3 sigma bonds with no lone pairs. However, the central carbon is sp hybridized, forming two C is equal to C double bonds, which are 2 sigma bonds in total, again with no lone pairs. This combination results in a unique structure where the two terminal CH groups are perpendicular to each other. Another prime example is benzene, CH. Every carbon atom in the benzene ring is sp superscript 2 hybridized, forming 3 sigma bonds, 1 CH and 2 C bonds within the ring. The remaining unhybridized p orbital on each carbon atom then overlaps laterally, forming a delocalized pi electron cloud both above and below the plane of the ring. This delocalization is the essence of aromaticity and gives benzene its exceptional stability and characteristic reactivity. Understanding these individual hybridizations is vital for dissecting the overall electronic structure and predicting the chemical behavior of such intricate molecules. Hybridization, while rooted in valence bond theory, serves as a crucial bridge to more advanced concepts in chemistry. It provides a visual and intuitive model for understanding directional bonding and molecular geometry, laying the groundwork for appreciating theories like molecular orbital theory, which describes electrons as delocalized across the entire molecule. Although MOT offers a more rigorous quantum mechanical description, hybridization remains invaluable for qualitative analysis and initial structural predictions. In the realm of computational chemistry, hybridization concepts help interpret complex calculations and visualize electron density. Beyond theory, hybridization has profound engineering and scientific applications. For instance, the drastic differences in properties between diamond, sp superscript 3 carbon, graphite, sp superscript 2 carbon, and carbine, sp carbon, are directly attributable to their hybridization states, impacting material science, nanotechnology, and the development of new functional materials. From designing pharmaceuticals based on molecular shape to understanding the reactivity of polymers, the principles of hybridization are fundamental to countless real-world applications, underpinning much of modern chemistry and engineering. Now, let's test your mastery with these first 5 challenging questions. These require critical thinking and application of all the concepts we've covered, from basic hybridization to its implications for molecular properties and resonance. Take your time, analyze each problem carefully, and try to connect the dots. Here are the final 5 questions to truly push your understanding of hybridization. These problems delve into nuanced aspects, requiring you to synthesize information and apply your knowledge to more complex and theoretical scenarios. This is your chance to demonstrate a comprehensive grasp of the topic. Good luck! And that brings us to the end of our in-depth exploration of hybridization. We've journeyed from the basics of sp superscript 2, and sp superscript 3 to their intricate connections with molecular geometry, resonance, and even advanced theories and real-world applications. Mastering this topic is absolutely crucial for your GMain success, as it forms the bedrock for understanding organic and inorganic chemistry. For more such comprehensive educational content, practice questions, and detailed solutions, visit synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for continuous learning. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep aiming for excellence. See you in the next session.